Let's go ahead and get started here. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for June 5th, 2019. SPY up 0.86% and Qs up 0.77. We initially started with the market gapping up. Okay, gapping up here. And we were really looking for a pullback as a point to go long the market here. That was the expectation that sell-offs are buyable. Okay, so it started off with the sell-off. We got the sell-off, and from there you can see it's been rallying. SPY showing a little bit more strength to the Qs, and Qs and SPY look higher, right? Coming into today, bullish bias on a sell setup or on any kind of, or on a buy setup or on any kind of breakout. So on any kind of sell off, look to play long because the hourly downtrend is broken. It was actually broken on the SPY first thing in the morning yesterday. Okay, so we've been following this. We noticed the extension that the Qs got going into the lows there. And since we were at support, right, expectation was that we should look to see if a bottom is in, and confirmation will be the break of the hourly downtrend that we've been following. Okay, so we are looking higher still. What we could get on the Qs and SPY that will really set the tone, I think, for the next weeks and months is this buy setup. So I think if next week we break over this week's high, then we will have some pretty good time frame alignment across the board. We will be looking higher on the weekly, the monthly, the daily, and the hourly, basically bullish across the board. Okay, so we've been dealing with varying levels of time frame alignment throughout this year, and going into next week, that could be pretty much all resolved and everything will be looking higher. So just one more quick note to finish up our analysis from yesterday is that we wanted to see a sell-off and then us to get back over that sell-off. Like I wanted to see what kind of supply was still in here, what kind of profit taking might occur, what the resistance, what kind of follow through the resistance would get. And so that's what we got in the morning. We got this gap up to resistance and it got sold, and now we're running back over it. So we're getting the confirmation in the SPY, and the Qs are still working their way back up. So you can see, as has been the case during the sell-off to Qs, showing a little bit of weakness to the SPY, and that continues. But we're going to be going bullet. We're going to be bullish on both going into tomorrow as well. Okay, so did have some calls today. Started off with the CRM. Was looking for a buy setup. Here was the gap. We were clearing a little bit of resistance, still more in the way. So that was the first idea here on the CRM. Was looking for a 5-minute buy setup. Was showing some strength to the market here. And just never triggered on the CRM, and instead just kept going lower. So that was fine. No harm, no foul, no play. Market was a little bit weaker in the morning and wanted to see if we could get a bounce. It never was able to break a previous bar's high there on the CRM. So that was canceled. And then the BFB ended up being the play for us today. This was doing a gap bully. So this is one of my more recent strategies here. When you get these kind of gap downs, and then the gap down is able to reverse the gap and go the other way, these end up being pretty powerful. We went over this last week too, because we actually had gap berries that were working nicely. Here's a QNST. And if you recall, recently we played the BEST, right? This was a gap up that got sold. We played the TCS, which also was a gap up that got sold. We played those short. So we play in the direction of the current move. So in the case of the BFB, even though this gap down it ran up and showed a lot of strength even as the market was getting sold. And then we played this buy setup right here. So the numbers were 52.60 by 52.35. We did get to new highs. We took a half there and then took another piece on the next run up and then took it all here. We were really looking for 53.50, got just a little bit impatient with it. You can see it's all the way up at 54.03 now. So definitely got a little bit impatient with this one and sold it a bit early. Decided not to hold the runner on this, but if you had held one to be managed to the end of the day, bar by bar, you'd be closing it out here just at the end of the day. So yeah, could have done better on this play here, and just got a little bit impatient with it. Market wasn't showing the bounce that I was looking for quite yet, so kind of got myself out of it and just a little bit early, but still not too bad of a winner there on the BFB. And then the other one was the CPB. I was looking for something very specific here on the CPB for this to break over this 80 and maintain this stop here at 50. Ended up having to cancel this as well because it came in, but ended up going higher anyway. So you can see ideas were right here on the CPB closing up near the highs. Even the CRM, which we didn't have a play on, also closing up here at the highs. So I thought we had a pretty good read as far as the gaps being bullish or bearish, what to do with them, but really only the BFB is the one that was able to make money on it. So I think overall there wasn't that much to do today. You can see I did try to get us in quite a few plays here, but just the BFB ended up being the one. So hope you did well today. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow because we did get a little bit of the pause today, not as narrow of a bar as we've seen recently. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of days we get some narrow bars. I think if we get more narrow bars, that's even more bullish. That'll be an even better weekly buy setup that is set up for next week. So the more that we rest here and don't come back in, the more bullish that the market will be. What would it take for us to shift to a bearish bias? What I would have to see is us break below today's low, get follow through, and then the next setup. Okay, now that we're bullish, we have to first negate the bullish bias and then see if we actually go lower. So we could set up a daily sell setup, and if that triggers and then we get some hourly follow through, that could make us shift our bias here. So we are bullish, but I want to make sure that we're aware of what it would take, right? Where our line in the sand is, where we would have to shift from the bullish bias. Okay, so if we trigger this daily sell setup and then get follow through, the next sell setup or breakdown will be the time to initiate a bearish bias. Okay, all right. Hope you did well today. If not, we'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.